when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
And we are live. What up, fam? How we doing today? It is Wednesday, June 8th, and we got another 2-game slate on deck for us in WNBA. Really excited about this. Last night could have gone a little bit better. I think our process was on point, especially in the live stream. We got off some of the targets, but for the most part, a lot of them were in the right direction. We got killed by an injury on Atlanta's side with Wheeler going down in the early first quarter. And then the blowout happened in the first game, which was the game with the smallest spread at 1.5. But, you know, that happens when you have a team like New York that's going to live and die by the 3 ball. If they get hot, they're going to blow the other team out of the water, especially if the other team's shooting as poorly as Minnesota did from the 3-point line. So it's going to be like that some days, and especially when you have a small 2-game slate like that. But how are you doing today, Eric? You excited about this slate today?
I am, man. I'm definitely ready for a bounce back. Had a reasonable night. Thankfully, I'm pretty much broke even, so can't complain about that. But looking for a new night here and hopefully some close games.
Yeah. I mean, our top 10 list we finally finalized and refined at the end there yesterday, especially in a live voice chat. We hit 7 out of 10. So and 3 of those were due to the blowout of the New York Minnesota game, that not just not getting there, especially Natasha's PRA or Natasha's turnover and Sylvia's PRA and Natasha's turnovers. Man, what a frustrating day for that prop. I will say that she was just popping up and taking quick threes, so it wasn't even time for her to turn the ball over like she normally does when she's trying to attack the basket or go for that mid-range game. She was just jacking threes and she was making them early on, so I think that reinforced that even more so. But yeah, I think she finished with 1 turnover and she averages almost 3.5 in the season. But what are you gonna do? They're not, I mean, players are gonna fall under their norms and go over and it's not going to be a routine thing every night. So just caught the wrong end of that one, but I think the process is right. Her prop was too low at 2.5 in my opinion. But yeah, she had a great game overall. I think she cleared her fantasy, and like I said, she got half from 3. And then Sabrina continues her heater, man. She's playing lights out. Although she did shoot ridiculous from 3 because the prior game on Sunday, the most recent one before yesterday, I believe she went like 3 of 11 from 3, and then yesterday, I know at one point she was 4-4 from 3. Pretty ridiculous, especially for WNBA standard. So I mean, yeah, she's on a heater. Excited to see how she continues this going forward. She is the kind of player I feel like that can stay on these type of heaters. And yeah, I think defenses are gonna have to adjust and blitz her more like they were early on in the season. But yeah, we'll see. Before we catch up on the news of the day, any injury news or other news related to the slate today, let's catch up on chat and people trickling in because it is a different start time for us today. Today's a little bit different because it's gonna be a pretty jam-packed day of content. We're gonna have the WNBA stream for about an hour and a half, and then after that, me and Gunnar are gonna try to sneak in the NBA stream for an hour, and then he has to head over to Osmo for the Osmo MLB live before lock stream. So yeah, I think an hour and a half should be plenty of time for the 2-game slate on the WNBA, and then yeah, we should be able to jam in some NBA props within that hour. Me and Gun, and yeah, so let's just catch up on chat and catch up on the news. Mike said, "Let's go." What's up, Mike? Good to see you, buddy. Corey said, "Got to get in early for that intro." Let's get it. I love the intro, man. Love it, love it. Drop the beats, Gun. Yep. DJ Gun in the house, y'all. Randy said, Corey says, "Never fails. Underrated. Let's go. Hit the like." Yeah, appreciate that. All right, guys. Any other news or tidbits you wanted to add, Eric, before we jumped into the first game?
No, we're not really waiting on any news. So we're just we were waiting on PrizePicks, but they finally got I think most of the props we're gonna get for tonight up on the board. They might give us a couple extra pieces, but I think for the most part we got what we're gonna be working with.
But I mean, right now they don't have any like the peripheral, like the blocks, the free throws. I imagine this is going to come in later, right?
Yeah, almost definitely. I mean, he definitely got they got a very late start today.
Yeah.
They started way later than their usual, so hopefully we'll get all those extras. But we were actually talking about that in Discord. You know, this could be a bit of an edge for us today on a get right spot. That if they're being rushed and just having to jam up the props sooner than they're normally comfortable with, then today could be a really good bounce back for everybody.
I agree. Yeah, and especially with this first game that we're about to dive into having a massive spread. Yeah, so let's just dive into it. We have Indiana Fever at Connecticut Suns. It's a 14.5 point spread in favor of Connecticut. No surprise there. It is a 161 implied total, so not too low of a total, like where we see some totals get down in that low 150 range. But yeah, blow up potential, very high risk. I would say red alert for this one. And this is the first game on the slate at 7 p.m. Eastern. Now these games, you have to be strategic with your card building. There's not gonna be like that late night hammer large gap between the games where you can sit down and have time to tilt bet a late card, because the next game I believe starts pretty much at halftime of the first game, and that's at 8 p.m. Eastern is the final second game. So there's gonna be overlap between the two games, and yeah, it's only a 2-game slate. So yeah, if you're planning to do a late card, or yeah, late night card, you're gonna have to do it probably before halftime of the first game. And yeah, I mean, all your cards will probably clear up pretty quickly tonight. No waiting around for the late night hammer. So it's just something to think about. But yeah, so these two teams have played, I believe, twice this season so far. I think one of the games was lopsided and the other one was somewhat close. And I think it all will start with Indiana, and it all starts and stops with Mitchell. If she can get hot and keep up the scoring, I think that's Indiana's only hope to stay alive in this matchup. And I think that's what happened one game. I think the game that was somewhat close, she put up 23 real points. She was really efficient, 9 to 13 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3, not too bad. Yeah, she even was a playmaker with 5 assists. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna if you're hoping this game stays close and you want to play full game props, I would say you're gonna almost have to have some iteration or variation of Kelsey Mitchell in your card, just because it's gonna all rely on her to do majority of the scoring and carry the team in this one. The other game that was in Indiana was the blowout, and you can see here Mitchell had a really bad game. She was 2 of 12 from the field, did not make a single 3-pointer, and she put up 5 points. And as a result, no surprise, it was a blowout. So, I think it's pretty straightforward in that sense, in my opinion. But I'm very nervous about this spread in this game environment. So let's start with Indiana. Let's start with the overall current team stats. All these teams are both these teams are pretty much near the middle in defensive rating. Connecticut started off the season really strong with defensive rating. They've kind of taken a step back a little bit. We saw even Phoenix have success, even Tarasi the vet go off and get hot against them recently. But they continue to be a solid rebounding team. They're first in rebound percentage. And Indiana continues to be a fast-paced team. They're second in pace. And Connecticut, and they're both turnover-prone teams. They're in top 5 in turnover percentage, both Connecticut and Indiana. In Indiana, I think this is a key thing to point out here. And this is why I chose Jonquel JJ as the cover art girl, because Indiana is first in the amount of points allowed in the paint. So they allow the most points in the paint. And they allow the most free throw attempts as well. So there could be a lot of free throw attempts to go around for Connecticut in this matchup. But yeah, nothing else really standing out. Indiana doesn't allow that many 3-point made, and both these teams don't really take that many threes. So with that said, you want to start off with Indiana and any key targets that stood out to you that were currently available on the board?
Yeah. So definitely blowout risk here. These teams have a pretty ugly history. Well, they, as in Indiana, has a pretty ugly history here. They're definitely going to have to stay in this game, almost do or die by the 3 ball here. And I actually love that. We'll get to Connecticut in a second, though. That you had Jonquel for your cover girl today. Just doing some early research and watching game footage. Man, she's having her way with everybody out there. But as far as for the Indiana side, so Kelsey Mitchell, I think it's a huge risk with her just actual scoring. They are going to rely on her heavily to stay in this game. And as you pointed out, for Indiana's last meeting at home, when Kelsey only scored 5 points, they got shellacked for almost
Yeah.
20 points. So it wasn't even close. And we saw Connecticut play the lowest minutes of their current season, right? In that game, nobody eclipsed 30 minutes. So there is definitely some risk there. But with Kelsey Mitchell, actually, I want to point out her assist prop at 2.5. Now, in both of the meetings so far this season, she's actually got 5 assists in the 2 games that we've had so far. And doing a little bit of a deeper dive into kind of their history here, Mitchell is going to get she's going to get more than a fair share of her opportunity to shoot the ball, but her shot selection has been really spotty just because this defense is so tough. They're really well rounded. They play at a reasonable pace, but they get all the rebounds. So if you're not making points, you're going to be turning the ball over. And essentially against an unstoppable offense, they're going to score at least eight out of 10 times whenever the ball goes back the other direction. So I'm hoping for this go. We actually got a couple lines that saw pretty hefty lowering than I expected. The two of them, I would say definitely one of them being Mitchell's assist at 2.5. But the other one, and I feel like this is going to be a great pair, would be going back to Vivian's at her real points at 10.5. They just keep bumping it down and bumping it down from the last, I believe, two outings. She had a very subpar performance. But going back to what she was looking like whenever this offense kind of transitioned into they're really having the three different guards to shoot the three ball here. She's had really good success here, and for just her being a 3-point shooter, I believe she went 2 or 3 of 12 this last game. Just really terrible. But the opportunity is just wildly there, and they're going to need this points and the perimeter shooters to really stay in this game. So for me, those are the two props that I really love for this team. Um, you could have an honorable mention for Robinson at 5.5 points. She could just get 2 threes, and I believe that's what she got us last time and got us there. But this team is definitely at some huge blowout risk tonight.
Yeah, I agree. Those two props sound pretty reasonable for the type of game environment and the blowout risk that this Indiana team is facing. So I like the positive correlation there. So it's definitely something we can consider. And like you brought up again and reinforced that how good of a rebounding team Connecticut actually is on both the front court and the back court. You got the best rebounding guard in the league with Courtney Williams, and you got one a really strong front court rebounding in Alyssa and Jonquel. So scary to take any rebound props, and I think PrizePicks is trying to lure you in with some bait here, and trap you with Melissa Smith's rebound being only at 5. It's almost 3 less than her season average, and she can be an efficient rebounder, but I think it's just going to carry a lot of variance, and it's not a great situation set up for that particular prop. But just wanted to point that out in case you're considering and just think about it. But yeah, let's go ahead and mark those down for our current Indiana targets right now. Stream targets. So we have 2.5 assists, and then Vivian's is at 10.5 points, correct? Yeah. Okay. I think Connecticut's gonna be much easier. So one of our favorite targets recently have been Courtney and Heidemann's first half props, and now this is setting up for a perfect first half target for both of them in a potential blowout. They've been super efficient in the first half. They really feed off each other in the first half early on, and set the pace and tone, I feel like. So I think we could definitely consider going with one of their props. Let's see what they have them. I don't have them on the spreadsheet here, the first half props, but let's see. Do we even have first half props yet? Yeah, we do. Okay. So here, I'll bring it up here. So start with Courtney. Okay. Yeah, her PRA has been really juiced. I remember we were getting it at 8.5, which makes sense. I mean, how efficient she's been. I would say her points though could definitely be in play. We've seen this go up to 8. I think 6.5 is right there. She, like I said, she is very aggressive in the first half with her shooting, with a mid-range game. While Heidemann, on the other hand, is really aggressive with her 3-point shooting early on.
Oh yeah.
So, if you want to take a shot at that, with her 3-point shooting. They only have her at 4 points, which is kind of crazy. But a lot of her shot volume is going to come from the 3 ball, so a little less efficiency. That's going to be tagged to that, and so if you want, it's more security in Courtney's mid-range game because it's a higher shooting percentage shot. So something
It's
to
nasty. Oof.
think about. Yeah. But 7.5, 7.5 is really low. What happened in the Seattle game? I forget. Was that the weekend game that I took off?
It was, yeah.
Did she get in early foul trouble, or she just wasn't efficient in the first half?
Let me take a look because I know I was out and about for the later part of that evening. I want to say she's been fairly inefficient lately. Yeah, I mean she only had 5 shot attempts, 2 fouls, played 25 minutes. No real reason. So I'm not sure if maybe that's a coaching decision or if they're just sticking with some of the. I would assume for this matchup it was a size thing that they needed some of the bigger defenders out there, and she was probably going to be a liability.
Yeah, she didn't play the entire second quarter.
Yeah, just I mean no real. I got nothing for you.
All right, so that makes okay. I'm glad we looked at that. I mean, prior to that, she was. I think she had a really solid rotation where she was playing like over half of the second quarter.
I think with it in this particular matchup, since Seattle is so good on the interior paint or
Yeah,
inside of the arc, her not being the 3 ball shooter probably cost her some minutes there.
yeah. So should be different today, but I mean, still, I mean, her lines are real low, but I would feel even more secure about going with Courtney now, even more so because I was going to choose between the two. Yeah, so it looks like Courtney played that last time they played Indiana. Man, Courtney was jacking for three. She took 3 threes in a row for her 3 shot attempts. She's active on the glass in that first quarter stint. Oop, I'm looking at Brianna. And yeah, I mean, she put up a solid PRA. Solid points too. I think she had nine points. It looks like 2 rebounds and assists at like 12 PRA. Do we want to go with her points or do we want to go with her PRA?
For Williams,
Yeah.
is it still for first half or full game?
Yeah, first half. I'm on the fence, so if we could come up with a team decision. I mean, the points is real low, and if she's gonna be that aggressive scoring, I would vote that. But I mean, we know she can get it done on the glass to pick up a few little peripheral stats if her points need adjusting. But I mean, if she puts up, I guess the only concern is she puts up 6 points and it hooks. But then she could grab 3 rebounds and a couple assists, and then she would get her at 11 PRA.
Yeah, it's really close, at least for the first half props. I haven't looked at any of the first half props up until now, to be honest. But
Yeah.
is she getting taxed from full game in the first half?
Um. Yeah,
So,
she is.
so her full game prop is what?
11.5. So you're getting 1.5 tax.
Huh. I don't know about the first half props with her. Some of her rotations too kind of give me a bit of pause because she is one of the she'll be typically one of the last to check out just because she is a reasonable defender and has really good ball control. But the issue is for me, she plays a long stint and then she does not check back in until right before half. So if your production or your prop line, if you're not right there, you're going to be sweating that very, very much to the end of the quarter.
For sure, for sure. I mean, I just worry about the blowout because if it blows out, she's not gonna. There's a high chance she doesn't touch the court in the fourth quarter. Like this game here, she did not.
Hmm.
She did not touch the court. Her and Alyssa Thomas. So, um, I mean, her first half has been so steady for me when I've gone for it and how aggressive I've seen her play. Watching, like you said, yeah, she's gonna have to get it done in that first quarter because that's where she's gonna play majority of her minutes. I'm gonna stick with her 6.5 points, and we could say full game / full game too if we're worried about it.
Okay, I can get behind that. We know that she's going to shoot the ball. So, if she just can pick up a couple extra shots that she missed last time, we should be good.
Yeah. Okay. And then let's go right to the cover girl. I think her points look appealing. And her PRA, I think get behind two. Debating between those two. Do you have a lean towards any one of these?
For Jonquil, I had, man, I honestly had her rebounding. Just, I feel like 7.5 is so low for her. And for what she was doing, just watching some of the game footage, I mean, she was all over the floor, just running out to defend the three ball. They'd shoot it. She would come up, box out the center, and then pick up the rebound and would just do it over and over again. Um, I want to say she led the team in her second chance rebound and put back opportunities and scored, I believe, almost a third of her points on just putbacks alone. So really hammering that point of, she was having her way and really was able to kind of let some of her teammates take a back seat and whether that was her driving to the lane or being one of the first perimeter guards to make the cut, and just her size advantage that she had on so many of these Indiana defenders. They um, they went back in between Emily and I want to say uh, Nalissa. They had the two of them trying to cover her for some of that, and it was just a terrible matchup. She would stand there, be able to size up a three, and then take a shot. So I would probably say the PRA is going to be a safer one because we do know that she gets into some foul trouble. But man, I love all of her props tonight, just to be honest.
Yeah, right there with you, man. That's yeah, good reason why she's a cover girl. All right, so we'll just do PRA probably safest target, and then we'll say rebound right there with it.
Yeah,
That
no risk for
sounds
the turnovers.
um, and then is there anything that we would want for Alyssa? I think all her props lines are pretty much right where they should be. I mean, her fantasy is finally juiced up. It's up to 35.5 now. Her prop. So I guess I want to see what her secondary props are. Let's see if I think they added them.
Yeah, they added them right after we went live, of course.
Yeah. Okay, so 2.5 turnovers, 2.5 free throw made, 2.5 turnovers. Interesting. And there was a 2.5. Okay. All right.
Because free
Like I said,
throws are mighty interesting.
yeah, I mean, like I said, Indy is first in free throws allowed. So I mean, that means they're leading the league in shooting fouls. The only thing is, man, I mean, she could still get it done in a quarter or first half, 2 quarters, first and second quarter. But I just worry about if we don't get a full game with a free throw. I like free throw props when I know there's a good chance that we're gonna get a full game, because you get that additional bonus of like a team fouling at the end to ice or keep it close. So, but just given the matchup in Indy, how much they foul, and Alyssa is right there leading the team in free throws made, along with Bonner. I think that would probably be the only one I really stands out for me for Alyssa. Do you see any others that you like for her?
Um, that and I mean her PRA just she just kind of does it all character out there for them.
Sure.
Um, I don't have any strong leans, at least for this particular game, for her points or rebounding. We've seen her have a spike game, honestly, for both of them, and I know definitely over like the last 5 games, she's had a really, really good rebounding effort. Double. She's had a double double, I believe, in the last 5 or 6 games in a row now. So that opportunity is definitely going to be there. Just watching some of the game footage, though, I'll just give you guys a little bit of a cause and caution here. Um, she was in their defense style to basically hang around near the rim, like where she could get it if the shot was to fall maybe directly to that side. But she was actually staying pretty tight in coverage to not allow them to take that shot. So she was getting a couple of extra stocks in this matchup, but she wasn't getting quite the rebounding opportunity like we've seen her in her normal role acting as a big in this matchup. Y'all definitely got to keep in mind, Indiana is one of the league leaders in pace, so they're going to be up and down on this court real fast, and some of that these Connecticut defenders are going to get a little crossed over and a little bit of a fatigue out of it. So just keep that kind of in the back of your mind. But I do like a blanket for Alyssa's PRA. Just until she fails, she's been hitting it for the last, I believe, 5 games in a row now. So if it's not broke, don't fix it.
All right. I know. I mean, that's been one of my top 5 favorite targets this season so far, so I get it. Speaking of the pace of Indiana, what and how much they allow in the paint. So they're first in points allowed in the paint, they're second in pace. But they don't give up that many threes. That's really lining up for the 2.5 field goals made in the first 6 minutes. Would you agree?
On which side?
Connecticut.
Yeah, definitely. They're just really efficient with the ball, and that's one thing that I love about this team. And you'll see them as a postseason competitor every year for this reason. Um, they do have a couple of players that turn the ball over, but as a team, they're really efficient on offense and they're very stingy on the glass on defense. You're lucky to get some of the rebounds. If you're driving to the lane, you're not getting a rebound. But if you're taking a 3 ball, maybe you get the rebound.
Yeah. Yeah. I like this. I mean, I know it's juiced at 3.5. You're not even getting it at 3 for a potential push, but just it's setting up nicely for this, with Connecticut not taking that many threes, Indiana not allowing that many threes, but Indiana allowing the most points in the paint and running the second fast pace, which means you're going to get more, maybe a couple more shot opportunities than normal, to clear that field goal prop.
Definitely. In Connecticut, just in physicality for their pace, they're not a fast team. They have a couple of quick players like Courtney Williams or Heidemann, but for the most part, they save their energy for whenever it's time. If they have a turnover or a fast break or something like that. But for the most part, it's going to be a slow and steady, just grind them out.
Yep. And then I guess the last one we want to touch on is Brianna. Since she was very efficient the last time they met recently, and yeah, I mean she's been one of, I would say, probably the sixth woman of the year off the bench so far this season. Just how productive she is off the bench scoring. Do we want to go with any of her props, like her PRA or her points?
And this is for full game, right?
Either one. They got her at 3 free throws made. That was something I was going to point out. I mean, just that last meeting, both her and Alyssa had 7 out of 11 free throws
Yeah.
made. The most recent meeting was this meeting, then the blowout. Alyssa again had 4 out of 6 free throws. So that Alyssa 2.5, it's right there, like what we were saying. Just the matchup and how much Indiana fouls. Brianna was 6 of 6 from the free throw line. Man, Alyssa Thomas, that's really tempting me even more so now. 2.5 just seems too low.
Yeah, I think we could add it on the board.
Yeah, but Brianna, do we want her free throw or points, PRA, or is it just all gonna be mid tier for us? I think it's something we're gonna have to decide on.
Man, I don't. She has these waves where she's just so efficient and driving to the lane, drawing fouls. I think honestly, the free throw or the real points, for her sweet spot's been right around that 11 marker. So 11
Yeah.
5 in this matchup with a pace up matchup and options for more free throws. Um, Man, I don't know which one I want to lean more towards, either the free
Yeah.
throw or the real points, but I think
I mean,
one of
for
the
now we could put slash. We could put 1A, 1B for now. But yeah, well, I guess we'll have to think about that one.
yeah, that'll be a thinker, but she looks good. Should draw a lot of fouls in this matchup. We know Egbo
Yeah,
loves to foul, and she's gonna go right at her.
for sure. For sure. Okay. Yeah, very favorable free throw matchups for both her and Alyssa, Brianna and Alyssa there. So I'll probably have exposure to one of the other or both in separate cards. Okay, so before we move to the next game, let's catch up with chat and see what they got for us on this game, what they think. So Corey said he is right there with you. He was loving Mitchell's assist as well, saying she covered in both games, can still get there even with the blowout. Somewhat covers both game theory. So yeah, you and Eric are aligned in your thought process there. So yeah, trust your gut on that one. Corey said low key play. Look into Daniel Robinson's first half 3.5 points. Okay, let's dive into it. Yeah,
Yeah, I think I
we haven't
actually
had much time to
addressed.
look at first half.
Yeah, we were talking about that in chat for a second. Because some of these first half props are definitely getting a hefty tax.
Yeah, I think they're getting. I think ever since they introduced first half to WNBA, they've been getting burned by it. Probably. Okay.
And her full game is at 5.5.
Yeah. Something to consider. Always like those low lines. Paul said, "Your elbow cough." Underrated said, Mitchell at 8.5 points at half is a slight discount and it eliminates blowout risk. Why do you guys think PP has her first half discounted slightly? That's interesting. Let's look into her. Okay, first of all, let's see how much of a discount it is. So 8.5 and her full game
17.5.
So you get a 0.5 discount. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't make it 9 points or 9.5 and go more in the over. Let's just look at her rotation real quick. Nothing crazy there. Yeah, I mean, she's pretty steady with her first half rotation where she takes this little break 3/4 through the first quarter, and then most of the time we'll play either majority of the second quarter or the entire second quarter. I think it's a good call out underrated. I'm glad you guys are looking into the first half right now because me and Eric haven't had the time since they just dropped the first half, or we haven't had time to look at the first half since we've been adding the full game props since they've been dropping late. So I'm glad, yeah, you guys keep looking through those as we go through the show and point out anything that stands out to you. I think I think that definitely makes sense. Especially if you're worried about the blowout risk here, and if you're going to run it back with first half props for Connecticut as well, and just try to get all your stuff cleared in that first half of that game. Totally makes sense, and yeah, I get it. Okay, what else we got here? Corey said, side note, Connecticut gives up 7.4 3-points made and 43.3% field goal 7. Okay. Oh, yes. Let's go. We got the bots back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I missed them last stream.
Yeah, they came in right as we were doing the outro. I was like, you missed us.
Paul said Alyssa's rebounds. Yeah, that's something Eric went over. Vincent, what's up, my dude? How's it going, everyone? Glad to see you on, man. Let's see. Matt asks, any plays on Alicia Clark? I just tuned in if already discussed. We have not gotten there yet. We've not gotten there yet. So just in time. Everyday Fantasy said, can we go back to Alyssa Thomas turnovers? Sure. So her turnover prop is at 2.5, and yeah, she's averaging 3.2 on the season. What did she? The last two games, what did she? She had 3 turnovers, game 1, and then game 2, she had 2 turnovers. So I mean, I think it could be in play with how aggressive she is attacking the paint, but I it's just the only concern is like, say she has 2 turnovers in the third quarter, and the third quarter ends and it's a massive blowout, and she doesn't touch the floor in the fourth. That would be my only hesitation. But I mean, I think you can say that for a lot of her prop lines as well. But yeah, I mean, if you got a good gut feel on it, go with it. I'm still bitter about Natasha's turnover prop last night. It's still fresh on my tongue. So I'm gonna I'm gonna stay away from turnovers for the most part today. Yeah, but Eric, do you have a particular lean on that prop?
It's a possibility. One thing though that I'm just gonna kind of reiterate on for Alyssa though is a lot of this matchup. Just watching previous game footage, is she's hanging around the perimeter. So if she's got the ball in her hand, she's either going to be taking the open look shot, or she's going to be looking to pass it back around the perimeter. Um, I know we've had a couple games like with I believe the first matchup with them, Dewana, she wasn't in there. So we had Thomas kind of acting as point guard there. Um, and some of that could, be a correlation with her rebounding going up if she's playing more of a forward and less of a guard style big. Um, we could see that continue to go up. But honestly, you never know with her. She's been a little loosey goosey with the ball, but I wouldn't bank on like turnover props. We definitely got burned last night from it, so I'm not gonna go back there yet.
Yeah, I gotta cleanse that palate and let it just dissipate for a bit, and I'll come back to those.
Um, and then kind of one last note on it. Her defenders that she had against her, she still has some reasonable size on them, or at least evenly matched. So there's not going to be really any kind of other bigs to hinder her passes going from outside to outside. If she's passing it on the inside lane, it's probably going to John Quell, and she's not going to interrupt, or that's going to get there. John Quell's going to get that.
Yeah. Okay. Last one to finish out this game. Underrated is on a serious first half bender search here. Love it. It's helping out the crew. He found that he's comparing full game to first half price lines, and he found that Alyssa Thomas full game is at 13.5, while her first half is at 6 for her points. So you are getting a 1.5 point discount. That's really nice for a player like her that could draw early fouls, get the free throw line, score in the paint, because we know Indy struggles to stop points in the paint. So I get it. Definitely something to think about. But yeah, I mean, I as of right now, it's been right there at her usual production. I feel like that 6 is pretty fair. So maybe that's why they did it, because they're afraid people would click the under if they matched the points to her full game. Last one, Cowboys said Brianna seems to still get her run even in blowouts if she's not in foul trouble. Yeah, I like her today. I think the struggle for me is going to be her free throw or her real points, which is something me and Eric are still unsure about on the fence. I'm probably just going to have exposure to both because I can't decide. I'll probably have one card with one with the other. But totally agreeance. I really like her production off the bench. And yeah, hopefully she could pick up a little more minutes in the fourth to start the fourth, and wouldn't be one to just get off the court right away since she is a bench player. But I'm sure she wouldn't close in a massive blowout, but still we get a little bit of run in the beginning of the fourth. Let's see, the last blowout they had, she played. Just want to get exact number of rotation on that. So against Phoenix, massive blowout, almost 30-point blowout. She played the entire fourth. Was there anyone key out for that game though? Doesn't look like it. Okay, yeah. I'm with you on that. Makes me like both props, even more so the point and the free throw. I'm gonna change it. I'm put 1A points and then the free throw. It's just so you don't have to rely on refs making calls. I'm probably gonna move that up here just due to the blowout risk. We get the full game. Okay. Ready to move on to the second game.
Let's do it.
This is a lot like yesterday. We have another small spread, but a low implied total. It's 154.5 total, and the Washington Mystics are favored by 1.5 against Chicago. This matchup just happened over the weekend as well, just like we saw with the Minnesota and New York yesterday. And they also played earlier in the season, so this is game 3, I think, of their matchup. Their most recent matchup did not. Donnie did not play that game, so you got to take it with a grain of salt. It's gonna be a different game environment and matchup. But Donnie did play the first game of the season, which would have been here. So yeah, it was. I mean, both these were, pretty large favor of Chicago. But yeah, I'm not sure why Vegas thinks it would be different today, but yeah, I guess Donnie came off rest from that weekend game. I assume she's gonna be a full go today because they've been kind of giving her that vet treatment of just on off with the rest for conditioning. Yeah, so I guess we could start with Washington, the favorites here. I have not had time to enter their props here, but we can just look at it on the prop board. And nothing, I guess first would be their overall team stats. I mean, nothing really major holes to attack. I mean, they're pretty efficient in everything. They don't foul much. Both are like bottom in the amount of free throws allowed. And they don't turn the ball over much. And they're pretty strong in the paint, except Chicago can be leaky in the amount of points allowed in the paint. And they're both in the top 5 in defensive rating. So makes complete sense why the total is at 154, and also Washington is currently running the slowest pace in the league. They are last in pace. So yeah, the implied total makes total sense. Yeah, so let's start with Washington. I guess Donnie is always in play, especially for her scoring. She's going to be needed, obviously. So, is there any particular prop of hers that stood out to you? I know we just got these recently, so
Yeah, just taking a look at some of her game logs and history in this matchup. A little bit of a revenge narrative going against her former team here.
yep.
She has a reasonable outing, it seems like, against Chicago for the most part, or in this matchup. There is a large fatigue issue that I will say is a very big cause for concern. Um, just going back through some of, especially the more recent one where Donnie was in, she had Emma and her were basically just shadow defenders 1v1 the entire game. And man, they were just standing, like literally just standing out on the side, just doing their own thing, just tired as all get out. Very explosive on the offensive end, I will say, for both of these players, and we'll get to Chicago in a second. We know that Donnie is a very efficient three ball shooter. I would expect to see her a lot more kind of drifting out to the 3 line and pulling Emma away from the basket tonight. They seem to have some pretty good success with that in the second half, whenever Donnie was in for this meeting. But um, her lines are definitely pretty juiced from this last really good outing that she had.
Mhm.
So a little bit of concern for me, just kind of the pace, the matchup. These are almost mirrored teams.
Yeah.
Chicago is your reigning MVP. Just in case you guys didn't know that, they won it all last year. Um, and Washington is pretty much a postseason contender every year. So these are two really good cohesive teams that are going to play well. Um, we could see actually more 3-point opportunity here. Pretty stout defense for the most part on the inside, but very susceptible to pick and roll or any kind of schemes that design for an opening to a backdoor. Couple things just to kind of keep an eye out there. But as far as Donnie, her lines are a little bit more over the top than I would like. But if I had to pick, it would probably be a PRA, um, just because she could kind of get there on rebounds or kind of get there on points. But the points at, was it 16 and a half? That's a little high for my liking.
It's right there. I mean, yeah, most of her lines are right there. You're just hoping for somewhat of a ceiling game for her. So yeah, I agree. Now one thing I wanted to discuss and kind of brainstorm about, in her place that most recent game of the weekend, we saw sorry, let me get to that game. We saw Heinz Allen have a really solid game, and then Hawkins shot lights out off the bench. And I assume, she got even more run with Donnie out. She was 8 of 13 from the field and filled up the stat line. How is this going to shake out? So right now I have the current lineup as, because Alicia Clark is back too. She has missed some time as well.
Yeah, we need to hear confirmation. The last game we got somewhat of a short notice, but that she was going to be still on a roughly 20-minute restriction.
Yeah.
So I feel like her props are definitely low, and if she's getting around there, but she hasn't. I believe last game she only got 17 minutes. So unless we get word saying otherwise, I might be a little skeptical about her minutes.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to see how it shakes out. I guess, I mean, it won't matter until we see what PrizePicks gives us for secondary pieces, because there's a lot of, since all these minutes are so spread out with Washington, especially on the bench. I mean, Elizabeth Williams can pick up minutes, Burke pick up minutes, and then now it looks like, I mean, Hawkins, how productive she was. Does she pick up minutes? I'm just curious to see who PrizePicks gives us, if not two bench players for Washington, which would make sense. And I think you could get an edge there if you can really hash out the rotation and project the minutes accurately for these bench players. Because I assume if PrizePicks gives us, say, like two bench players, one of them, I think the lines are going to be much lower than what they should be based on your projections in the minutes. So keep an eye out for their those bench pieces probably an hour before lock. Hopefully we get them before then, because this game, okay, look, so they're dropping props as we're speaking. So they just dropped Alicia's Clark's props, so we got 6.5 right there, and 3, and then her PRA was at 10.5 and 12. Okay, so maybe we'll get some before the show's over. At least one bench player. I'd like to see who it's going to be. So yeah, because Burke can be productive at times, and maybe Hawkins continues to get more run here. How productive she was. Okay. I filled out. I think I updated majority of Washington here. So one that stood out to me was Atkins. I feel like her PRA or her fantasy is pretty low. I know it's not the most ideal matchup, but I think that's something we could consider if you don't want to pay such a high price on Donnie lines, with those lines being so spot on and accurate. How productive was she in that matchup when Donnie played?
Who's that, Cloud?
Atkins. She shot 4. And she went off from 3, and kind of going along that game theory. If you think there's gonna be a lot more threes, her and Donnie are gonna soak up majority of those threes and 3-point shooting. So
Yeah, definitely. I love Atkins' real points today at 13.5. She should be one of the main focal points for the offense today.
yeah,
And just seeing her, let me see, I had these matchup breakdowns. So today we'll see Atkins and Copper basically be going at it. Both of them are very young players. They're definitely trying to make a name or continue to build a name for themselves on the teams that they've been with for some time now. So I love her real points here. She's got a little bit of size on Copper as well, but just super efficient. And having Donnie back actually gives her a slight boost because, like I mentioned earlier, when Donnie is going to pull out or slide out from the inside to go to that 3-point line, Atkins is actually her main go-to for that kind of offensive piece that they rope the defense into. And Atkins was probably wide open, I would say at least 30 to 40% of the time. Just nobody even close to her. And she's a bit of a streaky shooter. She could let us down here, but she's had some really good history in this matchup. And I love attacking Chicago from the 3-point line.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, she's the one that stood out to me right away on Washington. So yeah, I like her points as well, and I like her fantasy point at 22.5. I believe it's at 22.5. So I marked those two for her. And then Natasha is always live for her assist, but it's right there. It's 6.5. I liked it much better when it was at 5.5 or even at least 6, but that's why she leads the league in assist rate. So if you think the three ball's gonna be falling and it makes sense to pair it with like Atkins point prop or Donnie's point prop, but it's not the best matchup for that because of the slow pace that both teams are probably going to be running. So a little less shot opportunities. What did she finish with? She had 10 assists game 1 earlier this season. And then game 2, she had 6. But that was a game Donnie did not play. I think
that was the collusion game, we're gonna call it, where she just sat down at the beginning of the third and never came back.
Yeah. That 10 assist game, Donnie made 4 threes and Atkins made 4 threes. So it's right in line of our game theory of attacking with the 3 ball. And I'm sure majority of those 8 threes from Donnie and Atkins combined came from Cloud. So totally makes sense to pair the Atkins points or Donnie's points with Cloud's assist if you want to go that route. Is there anything else that stood out for her? They got her point prop at 8.5. It's pretty low. But yeah, most of the time I'm gonna target Cloud for her playmaking, not her scoring. And nothing else really standing out.
No. I do have a bit of an honorable mention for Shakira today, though. Her real points are a little too low in this matchup, I feel like. She looked really good attacking the paint versus Chicago. For the most part, she was really the one of the only 2 inside defenders who were actively driving to the lane to try and draw the defense back from the outside. And she had a handful of misses, going up against Parker. It's not going to be an easy matchup. And we always do have some small foul risk there, but she lit them up for some points in some of these previous matchups. And if she can stay on the court for at least a good chunk of minutes, we could see her crush this. We were on it last night with Han, so kind of feel like this might be a go back spot again.
All right, I like it.
Goal for tonight for me is low bar, easy props.
Yeah, this slate's tricky, man. You don't get a lot of warm and fuzzy about a ton of props like we did yesterday. I feel like yesterday just had a lot of ones standing out right away. I think this one's going to take a little more digging and prop mining to find those gems. So hopefully we get there by the end of the stream here. I think I'm pretty good on moving on from Washington. Then let's see if anyone in chat what they have on Washington so far before we get to Chicago. Emerson Baby Gap shirt said Copper PRA. That's talking about that next. Cowboy likes Cloud's assists. Go with it, bro. Trust the gut, the process. I hate betting on turnovers, but Natasha underrated said. Cowboys said hi, but I like her fantasy points a little bit better. I assume he's talking about Cloud.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Everyone's talking about Chicago, so Chicago seems to be like the favorite of the day in terms of team targets. Oh, should we look at on Washington side one last thing? They have their for their team starters. They have their 3-point at 1 in the first 6 minutes. They have their 2-point at 3.5. It's not like really standing out as a must click in my opinion with the slow pace. Free throws at 1.5. Okay. Interesting that Chicago's at half. Washington.
Yeah, that's really low.
I mean, both just don't foul that much, but I mean, doesn't mean they can't today. Okay. Yeah, so let's start with the true vet, like Candace. Man, she's had some ceiling games this season and just like a triple double monster. And she has these like ridiculous rebound games. Her most recent game over the weekend against Washington, she had 13 rebounds, 12 points, and almost got there with a triple dub, but yeah, 6 assists. Yeah, I think she's the only. I think she has the most triple doubles in WNBA history. So, yeah, she can get done when she wants to. But I mean, we've seen her have games where they just totally change up the strategy, and she's just out on the 3-point line, and she's not getting any rebounds. So it's definitely not consistent game to game. I feel like on the roll and scheme, and switching off between her and Vandersloot on the glass. Yeah, again, like this is another one of those games where Vandersloot had 0 rebounds because we've targeted Vandersloot's 3.5 rebounds in the past where she ends up getting 0, and Candace has these spike games of 10 plus rebounds. Makes me nervous. And it seems to flip flop. Maybe we can, as the season goes on, to identify a common theme of a strategy when this occurs and try to predict those times. But yeah, with that said, I think Candace. I think a lot of her props are going to be in play today. I like her PRA, and I like her block steal as well. I don't think they have given it to us yet.
Yeah, they just did it too.
Okay. Yeah. Anything? We'll start with her. What stood out to you for her?
So I had her rebounding at 7.5 highlighted for probably one of my favorite plays. Just watching some of their schemes that they run for the offense and on defense. She was going up against Shakira here, and just the veteran knowledge, going up against a rookie or an unseasoned player like that. Man, her footwork was just so immaculate. Being able to honestly box two of the defenders out in order to pick up or set up for a rebound. But she just kind of does everything, the MacGyver of the team here. She's one of their leaders. She's an unstoppable force here. If she can get her shot going, she's probably going to be pushing a ceiling game. That's for me one of her kind of hit or misses is her actual scoring game. We've seen her have single digit props kind of to open the season for us, which was a bit of a surprise. But her real points are still at that 11 marker. And for this particular matchup, you know, is I feel like more of a fringe play here, but I do love her PRA at 22.5 just because she's a triple double threat every night, and that hits on all 3 of the boxes for us.
Totally agree. I mean, the first game of the season in this matchup when Donnie played, she triple dub. with 10 assists and the same 13 rebounds. So both times they play each other, she's racked in 13 rebounds in both games. So if you're into trends, that makes sense. Hopefully this is not the night she takes off from that, but it is very low for her, 7.5. So I'm right there with you. I would say the rebound and PRA would probably be the top two that I'll have exposure to in separate cards. And then some people had mentioned in chat her assist prop. We have discussed this in detail in the past and previous games, and we've seen where she just doesn't look to play make at all, and is more of a shooter and a scoring threat and just taking outside threes. I think it makes me a little bit hesitant on this, but I mean, against Washington, she's just been crushing it with 6 assists and 10 assists in the last 2 games. What's your thoughts on her assist prop relative to the rebound and the PRA?
It's definitely a low bar, especially with the upside that we've seen out of her and the potential ceiling games that we could have. Um, if you have a gut feeling on that one today, I definitely wouldn't talk you off of it, but a little bit of a pause there. Just for me personally, I don't like this particular matchup to have. Um, the key interior pieces who could have scoring opportunity to be the ones passing it back out. Typically, if the ball's going in that direction, the defense is about to collapse on it. And if she's under the post or anywhere around the goal, she has to take a shot. She cannot pass it back out because she's gonna turn it over right there. And we saw that happen in game one. Actually, they tried that for a couple of plays, and immediately it was scooped up by Donnie, and I think Shakira got a hit on one, and it led to a turnover in the other game. So they've tried to really just focus Candace on keeping them boxed out to catch the rebounds for the 3 ball, or being able to be the lead scorer and just or the focal point for the offense and scoring, because she knows how to really work over Shakira from not being experienced here.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think I'm with you on the rebounds. Probably being the top for her. Go with something that was one of a stronger point and a little more consistent for her. Okay, and I think we can go with the other popular target, which will probably be Copper. I saw Chad talking about her, and we've liked her as she's gotten back into form and starting to really gel with the team and help out the offense a lot. She's another one that just fills the stat line with, especially with her rebounding, and she can get it done with playmaking as well. They have her points pretty low for her at 12.5. She's almost averaging about 14. She's was very efficient in this last matchup against Washington. I think she finished with 15 points. Yeah, she finished with 15 points. She led the team in shot attempts with 15 by far on the team, double than everyone else. And the game before that, she was right up there in shot volume as well. Finished with 12 points. So, yeah, I think she can get it done with her rebounding and her points, and maybe get some assists. So I'm gonna say her points stood out to me, and then possibly her PRA. Anything that you like for her?
Yep, those are the two that I have highlighted on the board for me. Her points, I definitely feel is her better play here. They
Yeah.
need her. They need her to, let's see, she's going to be covering Atkins tonight. So there's going to be a lot of back and forth between these. And you see this, competitive nature really come to fruition a lot of the times too, where somebody just drained a three in your face and you're like, oh no, I'm going to do that. And then they just go back and forth. That's, a huge possible outcome here. The other guards for Chicago are a little bit older. You got Quigley here. She's a bit of a senior player. So she's going to have Cloud covering her. Cloud's a much younger player, a lot more energy. And mentioned Emma as well earlier. She's been with the season for a little bit here. And so there's, it's going to go to really show the pace kind of slows down and almost comes to a crawl. And then on the fast breaks, you're going to have a quick turnaround and see Chicago really be able to attack Washington on their back heel. Um, so for Copper, I definitely love her points at 12.5, and for a second would probably be the PRA, but mostly the points tonight I think it's going to be my go-to.
I agree. Yeah, that was the first thing that stood out to me. So I like even more that we both had early leans on that. So yeah, marked it as a key number 2 target. And then we got some secondary pieces. So Vandersloot, man, she's so tough to figure out and so all over the place and inconsistent. I was the thing I thought about last night, depending what they opened up as, taking some unders on her. But it is risky because she can have spike games. But her PRA, I was thinking about because she can pick up stocks and possibly get it done with the fantasy through that. But her PRA, especially if you play like a Candace PRA or rebound, it would make sense to pair it with the under on Vandersloot's PRA. What are your thoughts on her? Is it just too risky because she's so up and down?
No, honestly, for Vandersloot today, the only prop I have highlighted and it's in orange, so it's just kind of a if I had to pick, was her assist at 6.5. She's had a really reasonable history here for specifically that. If you take a look at her shot attempt and her volume, they're actually some of the season lows for her.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking this might actually be a pretty interesting spot for an under.
Yeah.
Um, the
The 10.5
potent
points doesn't it seem? It just seems high. I don't with the shot volume that she currently has, like you said.
Yeah, and that's with her just current shot volume, not even in this particular matchup. And I'm talking years of this matchup here, just seeing that she really doesn't have an opportunity to score on this team. So that's definitely a spot that we could really have an exploitable spot if she's only going to rack up maybe 4 points and she could get, what, 8, 9 assists, and that's fine. We'd still be way under it.
Yeah, yeah. Something to think about. If you're doing a late card and need one extra play, I think you could consider maybe an under with her. And then before we close out, is there anyone else? I think honorable mention would be Stevens with her PRA. It's pretty low at 11.5. Let's see. I think she. I mean, I've seen her crush that before. Her average PRA or point prop was something I looked at 7.5.
Yeah, I love that today.
I think it's pretty low for her. She's averaging over 11. Something I've targeted in the past and I liked.
Yeah,
Is that
and
something we could consider as a secondary? You think as a mid tier?
definitely. For Stevens, I actually have her points highlighted in green today at 7.5. They, for the most part, strictly used her off the bench as a 3 guard. She was not even trying to get any rebounds. She would just come out, shadow some of the defenders, but she would be the first to break when the ball changes hands to set for either the fast break to the goal or to the rim, or she was first to go set on the perimeter and would be the open shooter like every time. And if you check her previous game here, that's all, I believe all but one shots were all from beyond the arc. So really low bar here.
Yeah. Yeah, that stood out to me too right away. So that's a good sign. Might have to nominate that in the team string card. We'll see. which we're about to get to shortly. Is there anything else before we hand it over to chat and what their thoughts on Chicago, and then we'll do the team card?
Yeah, we just get caught up on chat. Wrap it up here and chop some more up this afternoon in the free Discord down below, guys.
All right, let's see what chat's got. Oh yeah, we got the bot full force, man. Let's go. Candace assistant boards. Io said, yeah, talked about those. If we hear Clark isn't on any restrictions, oh, that's you. Love a rebound. What do you guys think about Robinson, especially if Quigley under on turnovers? Is he talking about Robinson's turnovers?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what he was asking here. So I think it's two questions. What do we think about Robinson and Quigley's under on turnovers?
I think Robinson, we discussed her first half, someone mentioned, and then her full game, 5.5 points as a potential mid-tier target. And Quigley's turnovers, I did not look at that. Like I said, I'm going to be a little bit hesitant on turnovers today. But if you got a gut feel, go with it. All right, let's do our team cards because we're running. We got about 5 minutes until we got to head over. So I think you went first yesterday, so I will go first today. Let me look at our stream targets to get an idea. I'm gonna go. Man, I'm gonna go 3.5 minutes, but those
Mr.
have not.
Roboto. There you are. There.
I said I want to go with the Connecticut 3.5 field goals made in the first 6 minutes, but those have not. Those have been up and down for me, man. So I don't know if I can do it for the team stream card. I'm gonna go. We definitely got to get Candace 7.5 rebounds. I don't know if that's gonna be in one of yours. Since you like that one, I'll leave that one for you, and I'll go Azura 7.5 points since we both like that. And then I want who's the one I'm trying to think of? I wanted who should I have my early notes on? Oh, yeah.
Cover girl?
Yeah. We could go with her PRA. Or I was thinking Atkins. Atkins is someone that stood out to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wanted her 13.5 points. But it makes sense to go with the cover girl too. What do you think?
They'll probably be both up there, honestly. So whichever, I'm probably going to pick the other.
Okay, cool. Let's go. All right, your turn.
All right, so we got Atkins and Stevens. Gotta go with, I think, Cover Girl and PRA. I think she's gonna do it all tonight.
Love it.
Putting the Superwoman cape on, and we're gonna see her fly.
Love it.
And then for my last one, let's see. Let's go with Kelsey Mitchell's 2.5 assists. I had a pretty good feeling about that this morning.
Oh, so no Candace rebound.
Oh, I
don't want to talk you off your play. I was just surprised. I thought you would go with that.
If we're doing it at a 4 card,
we can add as a fifth.
Yeah, let's do it. I heard you say 7.5 earlier, and I don't know why. I got Stevens and Candace confused. Oh,
no worries. I was talking about because I figured you were gonna go with that one. So okay, you can interchange these.
Yeah, let's make it a flex because you got to win it for the contest anyways before the end of today.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah, I like all of these a lot. So, I mean, if you're worried about, Stevens being a bench player, you could definitely swap in. If you just want to do a 4 power play, you could swap in Candace's rebounds for that. That'd be a strong play for like Candace rebounds, Atkins points, John Quell's PRA, and Kelsey's assist. I would like that a lot. But yeah, overall, I still like the whole 5 play as well. So I'll take a screenshot of that for the team stream card. And before we got to hear any last important questions, because we got about a few minutes before to start the NBA stream.
No, we'll go ahead and get out of here. Give you guys a minute. I'm sure you're going to drink of water, maybe a quick bio, but we're going to be chopping it up in free Discord today.
Yep.
All right.
For sure.
Awesome. Links down below. We'll see you guys there. If you got anything else, man. If not, y'all have a great afternoon. Good luck tonight.
All right, fam. Take it easy. Good luck.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
All right, Eric. I'll catch you later in the voice chat.
Go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief.